Not every empire ruled through loyalty, some ruled through fear. Today we're looking at three empires that became infamous for their brutality and the systems they used to control entire populations. Let's begin. Coming in at number 3, the Assyrian Empire. The Assyrians weren't feared only because of their military strength, they were feared because of what happened to people who resisted them. When cities refused to surrender, punishment became public, deliberate, visible, impossible to ignore. Assyrian rulers even recorded acts like impalement in royal inscriptions. Victims were displayed on stakes for others to see, not hidden away, displayed openly as a warning. They also practiced flaying, removing skin and displaying it publicly to intimidate nearby regions. The message was clear: this is what happens if you resist. And in many cases, it worked. Stories of Assyrian punishment spread long before the army arrived. By the time soldiers appeared at the gates, fear had already weakened resistance, sometimes without a battle even beginning, because fear can travel faster than an army ever could. But not every empire relied on spectacle. Some relied on scale, and once destruction reaches that scale, fear takes care of the rest. Coming in at number 2, the Mongol Empire. The Mongol conquests are associated with tens of millions of deaths across Asia and Eastern Europe. The Mongols rarely needed elaborate punishments. Their warning was much simpler: entire cities could disappear. When a settlement surrendered peacefully, it was often spared. But resistance could lead to total destruction. Entire populations were sometimes wiped out after defying Mongol rule. And the memory of those massacres became a weapon by itself, because survivors carried the stories forward, and stories travel much farther than armies. The message became impossible to misunderstand. Resistance could mean annihilation. So when Mongol forces approached new regions, many cities chose surrender before battle ever began. Not because they were weak, because they understood the alternative. And whether you call it brutality or military strategy, the result was the same. Fear did much of the work before the fighting even started. But the next empire approached control differently. Not through destruction, through certainty, absolute certainty. And finally, number 1, the Qin Dynasty. Not because it killed the most people, not because it conquered the largest territory, but because it created something far more terrifying. A system where fear became law. The Qin didn't rely on chaos or spectacle, they relied on absolute control. Every law was strict, every punishment was immediate, and everyone knew exactly what would happen if they stepped out of line. There was no confusion, no mercy, no room for interpretation. Under Qin rule, even small mistakes could destroy a person's life. Forced labor camps swallowed thousands. Men were taken from their homes and sent to brutal construction projects under impossible conditions. Many never returned, and the empire kept building anyway. But the true power of the Qin dynasty wasn't violence alone, it was certainty, because punishment didn't stop with the individual. Families could suffer for one person's actions. Entire groups could be punished together, which meant fear spread through households, villages, entire communities. People learned to watch not only themselves, but each other. And once that happens, control no longer needs constant violence. The fear begins enforcing itself. That's what made the Qin dynasty different from every empire on this list. The Assyrians used terror to send a message. The Mongols used destruction to force surrender. But the Qin built a world where people lived under pressure every single day. A world where obedience became survival, where silence became instinct, where fear stopped being temporary and became part of daily life. Because the most powerful form of fear isn't the kind that arrives with an army, it's the kind that follows you home. And under the Qin dynasty, it was always there. 3 empires, 3 different methods of control, But one thing connected all of them. Fear often reached people long before the armies did.